Howdy everyone, how are you? I am Flex Dynamo, and as you can tell, I am a longtime Path of Exile fan, and I am very excited for Path of Exile 2. So excited for the early access coming up this next weekend that I can't help but to share my kind of build concepts or ideas of the thing that I would like to try or start with when the servers open up this Friday. If you like this content and would like to see more of this build concept progress and how this build kind of turns out, please hit that like and subscribe button. Now, when I start looking at what I specifically want to play, I look for the new skills or the new thing in the game that has me really excited and try to build around that. And for the upcoming release, the new skills that have me kind of the most excited for are Ember Fuselage, High Velocity Rounds, Rapid Shot, and actually Corrupting Cry, and Summon Wolf, and all the primal skills, but I don't think any of the primal skills are actually going to be in this first early access period. So looking at these skills, most of them seem to kind of be dex strength skills, red and green, which puts me kind of square in the bottom half of the tree with either the warrior class, the ranger class, or the mercenary class. And when I look at Ember Fusillade, that's really an int spell. It's going to be, or at least most of the support on the tree for it's going to be up here. So I can kind of rule that out, because now if I narrow it down to these and I try one and I find that I'm not really liking how it plays, I should be able to very easily respec into a different skill that I might like, or another one of the skills that I would like to try. With that being said, one of the things that has me a little bit worried for starting new builds going into the early access is the availability of support gems for a specific build. Because there's kind of a new mechanic. I find this a very fascinating and interesting mechanic, and I really like the idea of it, is that you can only have one of each support gem. You can't use multiple of the same support gem within your build, which means a build strength might be limited by the number of support gems that work with the different skills that you plan on using within that build. And with Path of Exile 2, we can kind of have as many 6 links as we want now. But I don't think there's necessarily going to be enough support gems for your specific build to actually do that. So I kind of wanted to go through each skill and just make sure there was enough support gems to, out of, what's been teased, to support the build style. And out of these 3, the one that actually stood out the most to me as having the most support gems that I could kind of slot in and out to the build was High Velocity Rounds. Because support gems are kind of a main way to power up your build, and the more options you have for your build, kind of the more basically utility or situational elements you can kind of squeeze in, and just make the build feel how you want it to feel. And with high velocity rounds, there was a couple other skills that they showed that seemed to have very good synergy with it, which is flash grenades and armor piercing rounds. So, based on what we know, not paying attention to the numbers because they could be changed at any point, based off from what was teased. High velocity rounds is a skill that deals more damage if armor is broke. It's a physical projectile, and armor piercing round is a utility skill that could pair really nice with it, that could set up high velocity rounds. It could break armor and allow this to do more damage. If I find that I need a more consistent way to break armor than something like Splinter, which might kind of be a win more support. Like if you're doing very high damage, you might completely drop armor piercing rounds and just put Splinter on it. Or even just use armor piercing rounds if you're clear, and then use high velocity rounds on the bosses. And flash grenade is just a very good utility skill on paper. It just looks like if you need something stunned, this thing will stun it. And it has some interesting supports, like not overpower, not brutality. There was some other ones like oh, where was it? If I was doing bleed, that would be interesting. Where is it? Yeah, Devastate. There we go. Devastate. Fully break armor when inflicting heavy stun. This is something that helps heavy stun. It breaks the armor, and then we high velocity round it down. And of course, there was plenty of kind of persistent spells that seem to go along with it nice, like Scavenging Plate, Malice, maybe Herald of Ash. Sniper's Mark, Defiance Banner, War Banner 2. So just a lot of support skills that seem to go with this very well. So, moving on to which class specifically I'd play with this. The three options: Warrior, Ranger, Mercenary. First, kind of looking at Ranger with its ascendancies. Deadeye didn't look too bad. More projectiles, accuracy, and a little bit of evasiveness. This seems like it'd work well. It'd work fine with it. The only thing I'd particularly be worried about is this seems like a very evasive, clear speed, fast class. So if I wanted my build to be kind of focused around clearing and clearing quickly, I think the Deadeye would be kind of a good choice, or a great choice for that. But not necessarily sure that's how I'd like to play. And then Pathfinder didn't seem to have anything that really, out of what was teased, really works with the type of build I'm going for at all. Moving on to Mercenary, it has Gemling Legionnaire and Witch Hunter. Witch Hunter looks like a very, very strong clear speed ascendancy. A little light on the physical damage mitigation. Doesn't seem to be the most tanky, but we'll have to see how Sorcery Ward actually plays out. And Gemling Legionnaire actually looked very promising as well. We have quality and giga resistances. That's just, couldn't really ask for better defenses than that, at least based on my knowledge on Path of Exile 1. And this could go well with any build. the respec potential here is huge. Play anything you want with this, and this class would probably work. Just try to stay at the bottom of the passive tree. Going to the top might be spreading yourself a little thin. Could still work if there's some very meaningful, impactful nodes up there, but try to stay at the bottom tree. Then looking at warrior, we got Titan. Dude, this guy looks like a beast, a Giga Chad to me. What I was talking about for my build, it seems to have everything that I want. Heavy stuns and crushing blows. We don't really know what crushing blows, well, damage and heavy stuns and crushing blows. We don't really know what crushing blows does in Path of Exile 2, but there's a very similar effect in Path of Exile 1, thing called Crushed or something like that, where it just reduces our physical mitigation. In Path of Exile 2, I guess that would be armor break. That this would contribute to armor break. Not sure, that's just my guess. I think it's a good guess though. And it says hits. This guy isn't limited to melee skills. Of course, the slam stuff is, but none of that right there, based on what we know, that should work with ranged attacks, even spells as well, just hits and heavy stunned enemies. So there's... This guy's a beast if you're doing physical damage. And although it doesn't show it here, there's also 20% maximum life and armor stacking. So this guy will get very, very tanky. And even some armor applying to elemental damage. So if we can get more of stuff like armor applying to elemental damage somewhere, very, very chunky. Very, very beastly. So I think that's kind of what I'm going to play is a Titan high velocity rounds crossbower, just because it looks great, it looks awesome, it looks fun. So why not give it a try? The Giga Chad doesn't need to bonk everything. He can bonk things with a bow. You could bonk things with a spell. And so that's kind of my build plan, or my build idea of, or concept of what I'll be trying to play at start. If the bows don't work out, I can just respec into slams. We can respec into slams. No problem. Just, making sure I kind of know how I feel about it before I take my first ascendancy. And yeah, what are you guys most excited about for Path of Exile 2? What do you guys plan on playing? Let me know down in the comments, and I hope you guys have a wonderful league start.